Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we return to Ultimate General Civil War. We are fighting the Battle of Chancellorsville. In the last video, we were actually fighting the Confederate perspective on day one of the Battle of Chancellorsville, and we pushed the Union back. Well, we didn't really, I guess we didn't push them back that much, but we seized the two key roads into Chancellorsville Farm, and then we launched an abortive attack on the actual farm at Chancellorsville. We didn't push the Confederate or the Union out of the farm, as is possible but very difficult, but we did pin them there, holding two of the three objectives. As a result, we are moving on to the second day of the Battle of Chancellorsville, and this is the historical attack on the Union right under the 11th Corps of Oliver Howard, with General Stonewall Jackson's 2nd Corps of the Army of Northern Virginia. It launched a 20-mile night march around the Union flank, found an exposed Union flank, and launched an attack. And that's what this video is. This is part 2 of a live stream that I did just 2 days ago, looking at the new Battle of Chancellorsville. Chancellorsville and Stone River are the two newest additions to Ultimate General Civil War, and that's what I'm looking at now. Now, I did actually provide an intro into the second day's fighting in my live stream, so rather than give you a long-winded explanation of what's going on, I'll just go ahead and jump back into the stream. Catch you guys at the end, and hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. Battle of Chancellorsville, May 2nd. Spectacularly coordinated, General Lee and Stonewall Jackson surprised Hooker with their determined attack. Hooker lost his nerve and seems to be afraid of our army. Probably he thinks we outnumber him, and this is why he's prepared a solid defense in all fronts. It seems very probable that he's not going to attack and waits for us to take the initiative. Stuart's cavalry found that the right flank is hanging in the air, defended lightly by only Howard's 11th Corps. Stonewall Jackson decided to take the majority of our forces and make a long march around their flank. And I didn't decide. Robert E. Lee gave him that order. This is a very risky tactic because our center is now very thinly protected. Nevertheless, if Hooker remains passive, Jackson is expected to arrive in the evening and strike a powerful blow to the unsuspecting Yankees. Okay, so the Federals kind of took up these strong defensive positions with the Confederates to their front, but again, they left their flank in the air, and what that basically means is it wasn't anchored to something. It means, essentially, you can just march around the enemy flank, and it's exposed. So if they had kind of formed troops out in a right angle in this direction and put it up against some geographical boundary that would make it difficult to go around, then it wouldn't be in the air. But the fact that it's just kind of down along this road line and they've got breastworks to the front and no real force guarding their flank here, that means it's in the air. So Jackson marches his troops some 20 miles, I believe, around the Union flank, lines up in 3 straight lines of divisions, and advances down the Union flank in an attempt to roll up the entire Union lines. This is kind of the historic, iconic moment of the Battle of Chancellorsville, and hopefully I'll manage it better than I managed the last battle. Okay, so the Union camp in Chancellorsville is very well protected. That's what we were just attacking. Couch's 2nd Corps defends the east side of the camp. Meade's 5th Corps, their left flank. And it's behind a river, so it's not really in the air. In that case, you've got geographical boundaries. Slocum's 12th Corps stands in the center. Sickles' 3rd to the left and expands his brigades around the camp. And then up to this section, Howard's 11th Corps is at the far right and is the target of Stonewall Jackson. We're going to punish Hooker's poor defense in this sector very soon. See, again, it's a sprawling map, and I think that the description is almost too much. I think it needs to be broken down a bit more, kind of the way the old Ultimate General Gettysburg did, into a series of scenarios. I'm not sure if this method works the best for these gigantic, sprawling battlefields. Yankees, you're still receiving reinforcements. Don't overextend. Generally, we gamble by dividing our army and attacking a bigger force. We should be careful because the enemy may decide to attack our positions. Stonewall Jackson is ready to attack. Okay. If he's really going to just be ready to attack right away, why don't they just put him where he needs to be? So we're going to hold our other forces in the center here. We're not going to attack the enemy frontally. Maybe if Jackson's is as successful as he was historically, we will. I wish I could also see where these guys are going. Like, they're obviously moving. But where to? Okay, we continue to hold these two spots. We don't hold the Chancellor's Farm yet. I think the 11th is right here, along this open area, I thought. Okay. There are some Federals. Von Glacis. Move around their flank. I don't know how useful artillery is going to be in this kind of an attack where theoretically you should be swinging constantly. Guess we'll see. Those guys are setting up. I don't know. Can these guys target here? If they can't, we'll move them over there. So Ramister is kind of doing the dumb thing and attacking more frontally. So Mecklenburg. No, Ramisar, what are you doing? Don't fucking charge. Idiots! Retreat! Okay, you guys just form up here and wait for me to come down the enemy flank. Is the 3rd Division up there? No, it's the 1st Division? 2nd Division? Okay, these guys are going to just go over here. I don't need you to flank this position. Union's extending their left and threatening our flank. Iverson. Okay. Have they announced the next Total War? Is that what you guys are talking about? Or are you just hypothesizing what it could be? That's what you guys are talking about? I selected the main troops from the mainland out east. Good lord. Here's the question is, like, how much... I guess I'm probably going right down the enemy flank, right? So how valuable is that? Coming behind their rear, I suppose. We're moving into the camps. But here's the thing, is without any pressure, they can just turn to face us. Fortunately, it seems like most of these troops' morale is relatively low, so... Ideally, we can drive them right into these other troops over here if they retreat far enough. What's over here? More cavalry? Stuart, you're going to come up here a bit. I don't know where the enemy line is. Maybe I'm going to run my horses right into it, but... Cavalry come up the enemy backside. Come on, O'Neill. Again, trying to keep my artillery up. I'm going to put them over here in the open. Okay, so our attack is starting to bog down. Brigadier General Richard Beale is killed. I haven't heard of him. I'm not too worried about him dying. Doesn't seem like a major figure. Taking some artillery fire to the flank on Pender. Oh man, that's a lot of guys just suddenly got wounded or hurt. Whoops. Okay. Good job there by Rossier's cavalry. Dealing the enemy a blow. Beale has... Wow. Oh, he was the cavalry commander. 600 casualties to just 100. So we've now turned the tide on the enemy, inflicted more on them. Using our cavalry to finish off some of those brigades that kind of leaked away. O'Neill is just hanging back. Suppose so am I. I don't want Jackson to get shot. I feel like the sun is going down, and the last thing I need is to lose Jackson, right? All right. Over here. Stuart's men are slowly making their way north. Schlaflang is damaged. Continue to advance. So I don't know what the... Is the objective of this flank attack really to get to the Chancellor's mansion or whatever? Is that the end goal? Because I'm not quite sure. Advance down the road. Give him the bayonet. Okay, so that little objective point gives us a better line of sight. And apparently there's a bunch of Confederates down here, or Union down here. Oh no, it's left wing. Blah, 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 blah. The guy just drove back. Maybe we'll finish his brigade off. Rossier's... The nice thing with the Lamat revolver, although it looks more like a rifle than a revolver, and the sabers, those are very good cavalry weapons. They're running! I guess I'm kind of using Carter and O'Neill as a reserve artillery or something. I don't know. Keep driving them back. Don't let them reform. Enemy troops are coming up. Hunter, you go over here in these woods. Let's get this cavalry out here in the, or these artillery pieces out here in the open. I'm leaking troops behind. I'm not managing this attack very well. Supplies back here. I sure hope those guys are not coherent and they're routed. Doesn't look like I can click on them, so it does look like they're probably routed and not going to just go in and seize my pieces. Oh my god, there's a lot of Union troops here. Okay. Come on, guys. I need you to keep up the pressure. Pender just walked into a trap. His flank is exposed. So, Sickles Corps. We've run into Sickles Corps. So we've basically driven, we've done our job and driven back Howard. But now we're continuing to advance down the line and we've got to deal with Sickles. I don't know if we can advance. Maybe we can try and scout out and see if there's, maybe a lighter enemy force ahead of us. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll see. We'll send Paxton skirmishers, because again, the objective is the Chancellor's house. Heath just got shredded. Why aren't you forming up? I don't want you to charge him. I want you to volley him. Nichols, I want you to deal with that threat to the flank. Okay. Munford's brigade. We've got cavalry to the enemy rear, although it looks like they may have troops in here. Munford. I didn't even look to see what weapons you have. It seems like all the Confederate cavalry have Lamat revolvers, so that's fine. All right, so we're pushing them back. Oops. Through this wood line. Sickles Corps being driven back, at least part of it. We are dealing with some difficulty here in our center and kind of left. And Munford's brigade is gone. Bye, Munford. Good job driving off those skirmishers. Paxton's skirmishers have surrendered. I don't know where they were, but good for that. Wait a minute. Why are these guys in our rear? Fitzhugh Lee. Oh, were these the skirmishers? Did I send some? I can't even remember. I guess I'm taking it the skirmishers I sent off here toward the Chancellor's Crossing are the ones who surrendered. I don't even keep track of my troops very well. Oh, good lord. Just halt. Quickly, fire canister. Okay. I'm bunching up here in the center, which is actually kind of historically what happened to Jackson. These attacks are very difficult to maintain the momentum. We've got cross up here. Again, the further we advance, the more exposed our flank kind of is. You can see the sun's going down. We're not going to get to Chancellor's Farm. Okay. And this is, again, if this is, at least at the very least, the end result of this is very closely modeling reality, where the sun is going down, our attack is becoming disorganized. If the day was longer, maybe we could exploit some of our successes thus far. Or maybe not. It's hard to tell. We're starting to run up against, very strong federal numbers. Apparently you can just cross this river at any point. My southern wing is almost too strong, while my center wing is running into the more organized enemy. You got to give credit to the Germans, though. They always get scapegoated for this, but they're certainly, at least in this game, they're fighting well. I left my supplies to the rear a bit, but not too worried about that. And capture that enemy supply. My cavalry is kind of left behind here. Meager, the Irish Brigade. All right, Iverson and Warren push. Supplies surrender. That's the ones we just charged. Bye-bye, Irish Brigade. Oh! Evaporating from the field of battle. Okay, so let's form a new line here and start advancing. Our troops are naturally exhausted. That makes sense. But another wood line and another enemy defensive position. Meanwhile, where's our artillery firing? Chapman's artillery or cavalry's coming our flank. Great. That's a long way to order a charge. I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, our cavalry will deal with that. Okay, so you can continue the fight. I guess we'll finish it. Proceeding to the next day. All right, guys, and that's going to do it for this episode of Ultimate General Civil War, fighting the Battle of Chancellorsville. We launched the successful attack by General Stonewall Jackson on the Union flank. We shattered the 11th Corps. I think we did a pretty good job ravaging the 3rd Corps as well. It certainly seemed like we were engaging elements of Sickles' forces. We did not get all the way to the Chancellorsville farm, which I can only imagine how difficult that would be. That was quite a ways away still. We pushed almost to the gates of that objective, but did not successfully take the objective. So what it looks like we're going to have here is on the 3rd day of the battle, I assume we're going to be fighting the historic 3rd day of the Battle of Chancellorsville, May 3rd, which was really the decisive day in that battle. Often May 2nd gets a lot of credit under Stonewall Jackson, his, shocking attack on the Union flank, but the Battle of Chancellorsville was very much decided on day 3. The attack by Jackson pushed the Union forces into a bit of a salient, and then the second bloodiest day of the entire Civil War occurred on May 3rd, 1863, when Lee sent his forces forward to attack the Union forces near Chancellorsville Crossing. his forces across numerous open fields, as well as engaging from the left and right through woods, and the Union troops were behind heavy defensive works in some places, and in other places were out exposed. The Union more or so lost their nerve as opposed to actually being beaten, and were ordered to withdraw despite fighting pretty well on May 3rd. They were in a difficult position. If the Confederates had overwhelmed them, they could have seriously destroyed the Union forces, in that the Union were in a salient, which meant the Confederates could attack them from three sides. But it was a very bloody victory, a victory that the South really couldn't afford. By this point in the war, the South couldn't afford to lose 17,000 men, roughly trading with the Union equal. The Union did lose heavier in the battle, but on May 3rd, I think the Confederates actually lost more men than the Union. I could be wrong on that. Anyway, guys, that's the topic for the next video. That'll be May 3rd. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.